Rescuing a kite stuck on power lines. Afternoon, an open lot near a residential area. Clear sky, a gentle breeze. The whole family stands on the grassy field. Dad holds the kite string reel. Mom stands beside him, looking up at the sky. The older sister holds the kite. The younger brother stands nearby, excited. The sister lifts the kite high. Dad gives a signal. The kite is released. It rises into the air, gliding smoothly with the wind. The younger brother runs in the kite's direction, laughing happily. The kite flies higher, sways gently. The kite drifts off course, heading toward the power lines. The kite gets caught on the power lines. The kite trembles lightly, hanging in midair. The whole family stops immediately. Dad raises his hand, signaling everyone to stay back. Dad looks around, spots a long wooden pole. Dad picks up the pole, lifts the pole, and gently nudges the kite string. The kite shakes hard, but it doesn't fall. Dad changes his position. Tries again. The kite is still stuck. It only sways slightly. Dad lowers the pole, shakes his head. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind blows. The kite is yanked hard by the wind, breaks free from the power lines, and shoots upward. The strong wind carries the kite for a short distance, then slowly fades. The kite wobbles, drops quickly. The younger brother stands below, raises both hands instinctively. The kite floats down and lands perfectly in his hands. The younger brother hugs the kite tightly, grinning brightly. The older sister claps. Mom exhales in relief. Dad sets the wooden pole down, smiling. Forgot the way home after school. Afternoon, at the school gate. Students gradually head home. The older sister and younger brother walk out together. Each carries a backpack. Their faces relaxed after a long school day. They walk along their familiar route. After a short distance, they stop. The younger brother points into the distance. Arrow toward the park. The sister looks that way, hesitates for a moment, then nods. Afternoon at the park. Soft sunlight, cool breeze. The siblings run to the slide area. The younger brother climbs up first, slides down quickly, laughing loudly. The sister stands at the top, slides down more slowly. They play again and again, sweat beads on their faces. But they're having lots of fun. After that, they run to an ice cream cart near the park. Each holds an ice cream cone. They sit down on a stone bench. The younger brother eats while swinging his legs. The sister eats slowly, looking around. Time passes. Meanwhile, at home. Dad looks at the wall clock, worried because the kids haven't returned. Mom and Dad hurry out of the house. At the park, they walk in quickly, looking around the playground. No sign of the kids. Dad looks toward the grass. Mom looks toward the slide. Then, Mom suddenly stops. She sees the two siblings sitting on a stone bench, each holding an ice cream. The younger brother is smiling brightly. The sister wipes her hands as the ice cream melts. Mom and Dad freeze for a moment. Dad lets out a sigh of relief. Mom places a hand on her chest. The siblings look up and see their parents. The younger brother jumps to his feet. The sister stands up too. Dad walks over and sits down beside them. Mom stands nearby, shaking her head gently. The siblings lower their heads, smiling awkwardly. One afternoon, Pig Brother is playing with his toy airplane in the living room. The airplane flies higher and higher. The airplane lands. Pig Brother runs off to another place. Pig Brother comes back. The airplane is gone. Pig Brother starts searching. He checks under the sofa. No airplane there. Pig sister walks by.
Huh?
Pig sister decides to help. Pig sister opens the toy box. Pig brother runs to another spot. Pig brother thinks the airplane flew away. Daddy Pig enters the room.
Huh?
Daddy Pig checks under the table. Mommy Pig joins in.
Huh?
Something slides out from the sofa. Everyone looks down.
Huh?
There is the toy airplane. Pig brother runs over. The airplane flies again. The whole family smiles. Sometimes toys don't disappear. They just land where we don't notice. The first trip to the beach. The car stops near the beach. Waves murmur in the distance, and the breeze carries the salty scent of the sea. Dad takes a deep breath, shading his eyes with one hand as he looks out at the ocean. Mom smiles, holding the younger brother's hand. The sister runs a few steps ahead, her eyes sparkling with excitement. A small wave rolls onto the shore. The water touches the younger brother's feet. He startles and quickly turns back, hiding close against Mom. He clings tightly, his face slightly worried. Mom bends down, hugging him close and gently patting his back to reassure him. With her other hand, she holds a coconut with a straw, takes a sip, and looks completely relaxed. The waves continue to lap softly, no longer as scary as before. After a while, the younger brother peeks out at the sandy beach. His eyes stop on a shimmering seashell. He hesitates for a second, then lets go of Mom's hand. He runs over and bends down to pick up the shell. His face lights up. He hops around happily, holding the shell up high to show off his treasure. Seeing this, the sister runs over, sits down to play with the sand, piling it into small mounds, laughing with delight. Mom takes out her phone, lifts it to take photos. The two children against a backdrop of blue, sea, golden sand, and soft sunlight. Meanwhile, Dad goes to find a lounge chair, pulls it closer, lies down to sunbathe, hands behind his head, looking completely relaxed. After a while, the younger brother sneaks a look toward Dad. He bends down and scoops up a handful of seawater. Splash! He throws water at Dad and bursts into laughter. Dad jolts upright in surprise. Before he can react, Mom steps in and splashes lightly too. The sister joins in, cheering and splashing again and again. Water flies everywhere. Dad pretends to fight back, and the whole family runs around, splashing water and laughing together. An unexpected evening. The living room is brightly lit and cozy. Mom and Dad sit watching TV, enjoying dessert. Down on the floor, the older sister and younger brother are playing. The atmosphere in the room is peaceful. Suddenly, the ceiling light flickers. Dad stops eating. Mom looks up. The light goes out. The room turns dark. The sister stops moving. The brother hugs his toy car. The whole family freezes for a brief moment. Dad stands up and looks up at the ceiling. He goes to get a ladder and pulls it into the middle of the room. Mom stands to the side, watching. The two kids move closer to her. Dad climbs the ladder and reaches up to remove the old bulb. He takes another bulb and carefully screws it in. The ladder wobbles slightly. Mom steps forward to hold it steady. The sister and brother look at each other, then both run over and hold the other side of the ladder's base. Dad tightens the bulb, then nods. He climbs down and walks to the wall switch. Dad turns on the power boom. The bulb explodes. A flash of light, then total darkness. The room is pitch black. Dad stands frozen, staring up at the ceiling. He scratches his head. Embarrassed, Mom exhales and gently shakes her head. She goes into the kitchen. A moment later, she returns with candles. Soft yellow candlelight spreads through the room. Mom places the candle on the table. The family sits down again. Dad looks at the candle then gives an awkward smile. The sister leans close to Mom. The brother gazes at the flickering candlelight, delighted.
On a fine day, Peppa Pig was driving a car, carrying a load of durians in the back. He accidentally ran over a rock on the road, causing the car to swerve and the durians to fly into the air. Unfortunately, Mama Pig and Sister Pig were driving a small car behind him. The falling durians damaged their tire L, leaving the two of them confused and panicked. Sister Pig got out of the car to see what was happening and checked the condition of the vehicle. Angry that the durian had damaged the tire, Sister Pig threw it away, but accidentally damaged the tire of Peppa Pig's car in front. Peppa Pig got out of the car to see what was going on and noticed the durian. On the other side, Mama Pig was sitting in the car, while Sister Pig was pushing it with all her strength, exhausted and bursting into tears. Peppa Pig put the durian back onto the car and scratched his head in confusion. While Mama Pig was cheering, Sister Pig on to push the car faster. Peppa Pig took out his tools, fixed the car, and looked back proudly at his work. Exhausted from pushing the car, Sister Pig became angry that Mama Pig didn't get out to help. Now Mama Pig was the one pushing the car, while Sister Pig sat inside. After fixing the car, Peppa Pig decided to get back in and drive over to see what was happening. After returning to the same road, Peppa Pig accidentally hit the rock again, ending all the durians on the car flying into the air. The durians fell and broke the car. Mama Pig and Sister Pig were pushing. Peppa Pig arrived just in time to see the mess. Mama Pig and Sister Pig cried angrily.
One afternoon, the pig family is playing in the yard. Pig Brother bends his knees. Pig Brother jumps forward. Pig Brother looks back proudly. Pig Sister steps up. Pig Sister bends down deeply. Pig Sister jumps. They both look at the ground. Pig Brother steps back. Pig Brother takes a short run-up. Pig Brother jumps again. Pig Brother almost falls. Pig Sister moves back too. Pig Sister runs faster. Pig Sister jumps very far. They compare the landing spots. Daddy Pig and Mommy Pig notice. Daddy Pig tries to jump. Daddy Pig lands with a soft thump. Mommy Pig jumps too. The whole family lines up. Pig Sister and Pig Brother jump together. Jumping far or near doesn't matter. What matters most is having fun together. Cool afternoon. The backyard is filled with sunlight, lush green trees, and a few wooden chairs scattered around. Dad stands in the middle of the garden, facing a large tree, covering his eyes with both hands. Mom, the sister, and the younger brother stand behind him, exchanging mischievous smiles. Dad starts counting in a steady rhythm. Mom and the two kids quickly scatter to hide. Mom is found first. Mom rushes off, glancing around. Spotting a mini refrigerator in the yard, she slips behind it, trying to hold back her laughter. Dad turns around and walks slowly, pretending to think as he looks around. He moves closer to the refrigerator. One of Mom's arms accidentally sticks out. Dad bends down to look. Mom startles, then bursts out laughing. Dad points and shakes his head, laughing cheerfully. Mom steps out, playfully admitting defeat. The sisters turn. The sister quickly crawls under the wooden table on the porch. She tucks her legs in and covers her mouth. Dad scans the area and approaches the table. Dad bends down. Their eyes meet. The sister smiles awkwardly. Dad crosses his arms and nods, as if saying, "I knew it." The sister steps out, and she and Mom wait together, watching around nervously. The younger brother can't be found. Dad searches all over the garden. Behind the trees, behind the chairs, behind the flower bushes, he finds nothing. Dad rests his hands on his hips, looking around in confusion. He turns to call Mom and the sister to help search. The unexpected moment scene shifts indoors. Mom opens the bedroom door. The sister bends down to look under the bed. The younger brother is lying under the bed, hugging a small pillow, sleeping soundly. The whole family freezes for a few seconds, then looks at one another and bursts out laughing. Poking a beehive. A bright sunny morning, sunlight gently shines down on the backyard. Flowers bloom in many colors, leaves softly sway in the breeze. Dad sits reading the newspaper. Mom stands near the flower bed, one hand holding a watering can, watering the plants while swaying to a rhythm, smiling as if she's quietly singing. The older sister and younger brother are playing soccer on the lawn. The sister passes the ball gently. The brother runs after it, laughing happily. The ball rolls back and forth across the grass. The brother steps back a few paces, takes a strong run-up. The brother swings his leg and kicks. The ball shoots high into the air. It hits a beehive hanging from a tree branch. The beehive shakes, violently swaying back and forth. Then it drops straight to the ground. A swarm of bees bursts out of the hive. Mom freezes mid-watering. The water keeps flowing for a moment, then stops. Dad lowers the newspaper, eyes wide open. The sister stands stunned. The brother freezes in place, his legs still raised from the kick. Bees scatter all over the garden. A loud buzzing fills the air. The whole family panics. Dad jumps up from his seat. Mom drops the watering can to the ground. The sister grabs her brother's hand tightly and pulls him around. The whole family runs toward the house with bees chasing behind. Dad runs ahead and hurriedly opens the door. Mom pushes the two kids inside. The door slams shut. Inside the house, the family leans against the door, breathing hard, chests heaving. Dad slowly folds the newspaper and sets it aside. Mom puts her hands on her hips, looking at the two children sternly. The sister and brother look at each other, scratch their heads, and give an awkward smile. One quiet afternoon, the pig family is standing together in the garden. Suddenly, a strange pop sound comes from the ground. The sound is very strange, and it sounds very serious. Daddy Pig decides to check carefully. Daddy Pig thinks the ground might be making the noise. Mummy Pig feels that something is not quite right. Little Pig is very curious and listens very, very closely. Big Pig tries a different idea. And then they realize the sound is not coming from the ground.
Uh-oh.
Boo!
It turns out the sound is coming from Daddy Pig's shoes.
Uh-oh.
Inside the shoe, there is only a small air pocket.
Oh.
And that is why sometimes the strangest sounds come from the most ordinary things. One quiet afternoon, the pig family is in the living room. A small box sits in the middle of the floor. Little Pig notices the box. Little Pig slowly walks closer. Little Pig stares at the box for a long moment. Little Pig gently touches the box. The box does nothing. Little Pig gives the box a small shake. Little Pig jumps back. Big Pig runs over to see. The two pigs look at each other, then at the box. Big Pig gently taps the box. Daddy Pig walks in. Daddy Pig shakes the box harder. Daddy Pig quickly puts the box down. Mummy Pig watches carefully from a distance. Mummy Pig slowly turns the box around. Everyone freezes and waits. Mummy Pig slowly opens the lid. Nothing jumps out. Inside is something very small. The ball suddenly bounces out. Everyone watches the ball roll away. The mysterious box turns out to hold just a tiny bit of fun. Mom's fish dish. A quiet midday at home. Dad and the little brother sit on the floor. From the kitchen, Mom is cooking. Steam rises, and the smell of food spreads through the house. Dad breathes in softly, turns toward the kitchen, his eyes lighting up. Mom steps out, wiping her hands on her apron. She looks at Dad and gestures. We need fish. Dad runs to the corner of the house and grabs the fishing rod. Dad gets into the car, ready to start the engine. The little brother stands in the yard, hesitates for a second, then runs after him, raising his hand to ask to come along. Dad looks into the rearview mirror. The car stops. Dad opens the door, bends down, and nods for him to get in. The car rolls away from the house. A quiet afternoon. The father and son arrive at a small fishing pond. The father sets down a chair and casts his fishing line into the water. The son stands behind him, curiously watching the float. The float stays still, not moving. The father looks at the float and lets out a light sigh. The son tilts his head, looking around the surface of the pond. He walks over and picks up a branch by the shore. He snaps off a few twigs and ties on a simple string. The son squats down and lowers his homemade fishing rod into the water. The father glances over and smiles. The homemade float trembles slightly. The son startles, gripping it tightly with both hands. Splash! A fish jumps out of the water. The father jumps up and runs over to help. The two laugh loudly and hug in excitement. The father holds the fish. The son carries a small bucket. They leave the pond together, walking away full of enthusiasm. Back home, the mother stands at the stove, frying the fish until golden and crispy. The whole family sits around the table. Father, mother, and son eat together, smiling, warm and happy. Paper Boat Day. The river flows slowly, sunlight shimmering on the water. The whole family sits together by the riverbank. Colorful sheets of paper lie in front of each person, folding the boats. The older sister sits upright, folding her paper carefully. The creases are neat and straight, forming a small, well-balanced boat. Dad holds a larger sheet of paper. He folds slowly, using firm hands. His boat turns out big and sturdy, with a wide base. The younger brother sits nearby, struggling a bit. One side folds crooked, the other gets wrinkled. His boat looks misshapen, with a bent tip and uneven sides. The younger brother looks at his boat, then at the other two. He scratches his head shyly. Mom sits behind them, watching everything, smiling gently. The family stands up and walks closer to the water. The 3 paper boats are placed carefully on the river's surface. Dad gives a signal with his eyes. All 3 gently release their boats at the same time. The boats begin to drift with the current. Watching closely, the sister's boat moves straight and steady, but slowly. Dad's boat is heavier, stable, but it doesn't go very far. The younger brother's boat wobbles at first. Everyone thinks it might sink soon. Suddenly, a small current nudges the crooked boat toward the middle of the river. It glides faster, pulling ahead of the others. The younger brother's eyes widen. He runs along the riverbank, following his boat. The sister and dad stop and stare. They look at each other in surprise. The younger brother's boat travels the farthest, becoming a tiny dot in the distance. The younger brother jumps up, pointing excitedly. The sister laughs. Dad claps loudly. Mom steps closer and gently pats the younger brother's head. The whole family stands together, clapping and laughing happily. The afternoon sun paints the riverbank in warm gold. Morning jog. Early morning. A thin mist floats over the lake. The first sunlight peeks through the trees, and the air feels fresh and cool. The whole family stands by the running path around the lake. Dad warms up his shoulders and legs. Mom adjusts her shoelaces. The older sister stretches her arms and takes a deep breath. The younger brother bounces in place, full of energy. Crease, cross. Starting the run. The family begins jogging slowly around the lake. Their footsteps fall into a gentle rhythm. The younger brother soon picks up speed, running ahead. His arms swing strongly, his steps light and quick. He glances back with a confident smile. The sister keeps a steady pace. Mom runs behind, her breathing calm but slower. Getting tired. After some distance, Dad starts to breathe heavily, his shoulders drooping slightly. His pace slows. Mom notices and White Gull slows down. Running beside Dad, she looks over at him, checking in with her eyes. The younger brother runs far ahead, then suddenly stops. He turns around and looks back at the family. A moment of connection. The younger brother runs back toward them. He comes up to Dad. He takes Dad's hand, giving a gentle pull. Father and son run together, their pace slower but more even. Dad looks at his son and smiles, taking a deep breath to recover. He squeezes his son's hand gently. The sister and mom follow behind, smiling at the scene. Ending. The whole family runs. In one line. At a comfortable pace. The sunlight rises higher, sparkling on the lake. Their shadows stretch long along the path. Their footsteps move in harmony. Final frame. A family jogging by the lake in the morning. No one left behind.
Today, the pig family goes for a walk in the forest. A green forest, quiet, peaceful. There are 4 of them: Peppa Pig, Mama Pig, Big Sister Pig, and Little Pig. They walk slowly, looking around. Enjoying the day, Little Pig suddenly stops. So many mushrooms. Mushrooms are everywhere. Big ones, small ones, some look very tasty. Big Sister Pig looks closer. Mama Pig hesitates. Peppa Pig crosses his arms. I think they're fine to eat. No one asks more. The family sits down. Each one takes a mushroom. They eat. Short pause. At first, nothing happens. They keep walking. A few steps later, Little Pig holds their belly, makes a funny face, then sits down. Big Sister Pig turns back and holds her belly too. Mama Pig stops, places a hand on her stomach. Mama Pig hesitates. And then Papa Pig freezes. He tries to stand straight, but then holds his belly as well. The whole family stops in the forest. Each one in a different pose. Little Pig on the ground. Big Sister Pig against a tree. Mama Pig squatting. Papa Pig sighing. No one says a word, only. The stomachs are unhappy. Little Pig looks around,
Uh-oh.
sees a log, points at it. Everyone understands. They all sit down together. The forest trip has suddenly become a stomach break. After a while, everyone feels better. Faces relax. Stomachs calm down. Papa Pig scratches his head. Well, maybe those mushrooms were not a good idea. No one disagrees. They stand up. Look at the mushrooms again. No one touches them.
One calm evening, the pig family is spending time together at home. Little Pig is playing on the floor. Daddy Pig is watching TV. All of a sudden, the lights go out.
Uh-oh.
Ooh. Little Pig gets startled. Daddy Pig stands up. Mummy Pig walks very slowly.
Oh.
Everyone thinks there is a power outage. But something feels strange. Big Pig feels along the wall for a switch. Daddy Pig bends down to check the power box.
Uh-oh.
Little Pig steps backward. The lights suddenly turn back on. Little Pig accidentally stepped on the floor power switch. Everyone feels relieved. And that's why sometimes it's not a blackout at all, just a very curious little foot. One quiet morning, the pig family is in the kitchen. Little Pig stands near the fridge.
Hello.
A strange sound appears. Little Pig presses an ear against the fridge. The sound comes back. Big Pig comes over to check. Daddy Pig gets curious too. All three listen together. A loud clunk comes from inside.
No!
Mummy Pig walks into the kitchen. Mummy Pig checks under the fridge. The sound happens again. Mummy Pig opens the fridge door. A water bottle rolls inside the fridge. The bottle bumps the fridge every time the motor runs. Mummy Pig takes the bottle out. The fridge becomes completely quiet. And so the mysterious fridge noise was just one playful water bottle. The Great Key Hunt. Morning. The whole family stands by the front door. Everyone is ready to go out. Dad puts on his shoes. Mom slings her bag over her shoulder. The older sister wears her backpack. The younger brother bounces with excitement. Dad reaches out his hand, checks his pants pocket, checks his jacket pocket. He stops, looks at his hand, freezes. Dad looks around, raises both hands to signal, no keys. The whole family comes to a halt. Mom opens her handbag, searches quickly, not there. The sister bends down, looks around the shoe rack, flips sandals, checks shoes, still nothing. The brother runs to the living room, looks around, then bends down to look under the table, checks behind the curtains, empty. The tension starts to rise. Dad goes back to the living room, flips the sofa cushions, lifts a chair, not there. Mom rushes into the kitchen, opens the refrigerator. Arrow right, not there. The sister runs into the bedroom, flips the blanket, checks the pillows. Arrow right, not there. Dad stands in the middle of the house, scratches his head, lets out a heavy breath. Mom puts her hands on her hips, looks around, then anxiously checks the clock. The sister points toward the door, signaling, check once more. Dad goes back to the door, bends down, looks at the shoe rack, not there. Dad straightens up. His hand unconsciously touches the door lock. Dad freezes. The keys are still in the door lock. Dad turns around and holds up the key ring. Mom covers her mouth, laughing, and shakes her head. The sister bursts out laughing. The brother laughs loudly. They step outside together. The door closes. The chase is over. Playing badminton afternoon. At an outdoor badminton court, surrounded by many trees, a light breeze blows. The whole family walks onto the court. Dad carries the badminton bag. Mom holds a water bottle. The older sister and younger brother run ahead. Looking around excitedly, Dad and the sister stand on one side. Mom and the younger brother stand on the other. Two teams face each other. The match begins. Dad hits the shuttle gently. The sister returns it neatly. Mom hits it back. The shuttle flies high. The younger brother runs after it, misses the shot. The shuttle falls onto the grass. He bends down to pick it up, runs back to his position, grinning. The match continues. The shuttle flies back and forth, sometimes high, sometimes low. The sister hits harder. The shuttle flies off course. The whole family turns to look. The shuttle lands near a bush. The younger brother runs over to pick it up. The shuttle is stuck on a low branch. He can't reach it. Dad walks over, lifts his racket, and gently knocks it. The shuttle falls down. The match continues. Mom hits a spinning shot. The shuttle drops close to the ground. Dad bends to return it, hits back a bit too quickly. The shuttle flies back onto his own head. The sister covers her mouth, laughing. The younger brother bursts out laughing. Dad scratches his head and keeps playing. After a while, everyone starts to get tired. Their movements slow down. The shuttle falls to the ground. No one runs after it right away. The family stops, breathing heavily. The family sits down on a stone bench. Rackets placed beside them. The younger brother holds the shuttlecock, spinning it in his hand, smiling. The wind blows through the park, leaves rustle. The afternoon passes by gently. When Mom and Dad are out, morning, soft sunlight shines into the living room. The house is still tidy and quiet. Mom and Dad get ready to go out. Mom and Dad both bend down in front of the two siblings, signaling with their hands, stay inside the house. The siblings stand close together. They nod obediently. The door closes. The house becomes completely silent. The siblings turn to look at each other. Both break into mischievous smiles. The younger brother runs to the sofa. He picks up a pillow and tosses it lightly into the air. The older sister catches it and throws it back. They toss the pillow back and forth. The pillow flies up and down. Both laugh happily. The older sister stops, looks around the room, an idea forming. She takes out a box of paint and a few brushes. They spread paper out on the floor and dip the brushes into the paint. They paint with bold strokes. The brush slips past the edge of the paper, drips onto the floor. The younger brother hurriedly grabs a cloth and bends down to wipe. The paint spreads even more. The room gradually becomes messy. Pillows on the floor, drawing paper scattered, paintbrushes rolling away. Both lean back against the sofa and sit quietly for a while. The younger brother yawns. The older sister rubs her eyes. They slowly slide down onto the floor, lying among the mess, eyes closing. They fall asleep a while later. The front door opens. Mom and Dad walk in. Mom looks around the room. Pillows, toys, drawing paper, paint stains. She stands still, shakes her head. Dad smiles, bends down gently, and pulls a thin blanket over the two children. Today is a lovely day. A perfect day for a walk. But then, the family finds a puddle. The puddle is not very big, but it is not very small, and it is very wet. Daddy Pig thinks he can easily step over the puddle. But the puddle has other plans. When one person laughs, everyone starts laughing. The puddle is actually very fun. When everyone is wet, nobody is wet alone. And that is why this family of pigs loves going for walks. Building a wooden bridge. Sunlight filters through the trees, birds chirping softly. A small stream winds through the garden, its clear water flowing gently. The family strolls together. The younger brother runs ahead, curious, and heads toward the stream. He bends down to play with the water, tossing a few small stones. Suddenly, he slips. The younger brother falls lightly near the stream, his clothes getting muddy. Mom quickly rushes over. She helps him up and brushes the mud off his clothes. Dad stands nearby, looking at the stream, then at the family. He pauses to think, then his eyes light up. With a gesture, he suggests, "Let's build a small bridge." Mom and the sister nod. The younger brother looks at the stream, then at Dad, excited again. Dad heads to a small shed in the garden. He returns carrying wooden planks, placing them by the stream. Mom comes back with rope. She checks its strength, tying a test knot. The sister and the younger brother each carry a hammer. They stand side by side, waiting for instructions. Building together. Dad sets up the bridge frame first. He places two sturdy planks across the stream, aligning them carefully. Mom kneels down, tying the rope to secure the planks at both ends, her hands moving quickly. The sister holds the planks steady. The younger brother hammers the nails in, each strike a bit crooked but full of effort. The sister helps adjust, and the two work in rhythm. Dad checks the bridge one last time, pressing down gently to test its strength. Finished. After a while, the small wooden bridge is complete. The stream flows beneath it, sparkling. The younger brother steps onto the bridge first. It's stable, not wobbling at all. The sister follows, then Mom. Dad crosses last, nodding with satisfaction. The family stands by the stream, admiring the new bridge. The younger brother points at it, smiling brightly. The sister crosses her arms proudly. Mom smiles gently. Dad looks at everyone with warm eyes. The kite flying contest. The whole family walks out onto a wide open field. A gentle breeze blows, and the sky is clear blue. Dad carefully unfolds the kite, checking the frame and the string. Mom spreads a small mat on the ground, smiling, one hand shading her eyes as she looks up at the sky. The sister holds the kite string spool, her eyes focused, a little nervous. The younger brother hops around excitedly, hugging a kite almost as big as himself. Dad gives the signal. The younger brother runs forward, the kite dragging along the ground. The sister holds the string and slowly lets it out. Dad stands behind her, gently placing a hand on her shoulder, guiding each movement. Mom claps to cheer them on as the wind grows stronger. The kite lifts off the ground, trembling slightly, then drops back down. A sudden strong gust of wind blows. The kite shoots up into the sky. The younger brother runs too fast. The string pulls tight, and the kite drags him along without stopping. His feet slip slightly. He leans back but still refuses to let go of the string. The whole family gasps, then bursts out laughing. Mom runs after him a few steps. Dad reaches out to catch him, but the younger brother keeps getting pulled around in circles like an unwilling athlete. Stability and victory. At last, Dad quickly grabs the string. The sister plants her feet firmly and adjusts the rhythm of letting the string out. The younger brother finally stops, panting, then breaks into a wide grin. The kite gradually stabilizes, flying higher, flying straight. Gently gliding across the clear blue sky, the whole family lifts their heads to look up. Mom folds her arms, her face glowing with joy. Dad nods in satisfaction. The sister holds the string steadily, full of pride. The younger brother plops down on the ground, gazing up at the highest flying kite he has ever seen. The camera tilts up, following the kite. The kite grows smaller against the blue sky. Building a house from branches, sunlight filters through the canopy, casting patches of light on the ground. The air is cool, carrying the scent of wood and dry leaves. The whole family walks into a small clearing. Dad looks around and nods, choosing a spot to build the shelter. Mom and the sister smile and start gathering leaves. The younger brother runs ahead excitedly, his eyes bright with curiosity. Dad collects sturdy branches, stacking them neatly. The sister gathers large leaves, shaking off the dirt. Mom ties the leaves into small bundles. The younger brother discovers a very large branch. He hugs it with both arms and tries to lift it. The branch is too heavy. He drags it a few steps, then stops. He grits his teeth and tries harder, his face turning red. The branch moves slightly, then won't budge. Dad notices and runs over immediately. He bends down and lifts the branch together with his son. Father and son work in sync, carrying the branch back to the building spot. The younger brother looks at Dad and smiles proudly. Building the shelter. The branches are raised into a frame. Dad holds the main structure steady. The younger brother passes over smaller branches. Mom and the sister bring the leaves. Together, they layer the leaves onto the roof, stacking them carefully. A light breeze rustles through the leaves. The small shelter slowly takes shape, simple but sturdy. The sky suddenly darkens. A raindrop lands on a leaf. Tap, tap. The rain quickly grows heavier. The family looks up in surprise. Dad signals quickly. Everyone runs into the newly built shelter. Rain pours down outside. The leaves on the roof tremble, but still keep the rain out. Inside, the family sits close together. The younger brother stares out at the rain, wide-eyed. The sister covers her mouth, laughing softly. Dad exhales in relief, glancing up to check the roof. Mom opens her bag. She takes out fruit and shares it with everyone. The family eats fruit while listening to rain tapping on the leafy roof. The race on the sand. An afternoon at the beach. The sky is clear. Waves gently lap the shore. The wide beach stretches out, still marked with footprints left by people who passed by earlier. The whole family stands near the water's edge. Dad bends down, using a stick to draw a long line in the sand. He stands up straight and raises his hand, signaling the starting line. Mom and the sister step into position. The sister warms up her legs, bouncing lightly. Mom smiles, hands on her hips. Ready? The younger brother stands right at the line, crouching low, his eyes full of mischief. Getting ready, the family lines up side by side. Dad raises his hand high. Suddenly, the younger brother dashes off early, before Dad's hand even comes down. The sister's eyes widen. Mom bursts out laughing. Dad turns, pointing in surprise. Cheating! And the price! The younger brother runs a few steps. The soft sand sinks under his feet. His steps wobble. Bam! He tumbles onto the sand. Sand clings to his clothes. His hair a mess. He sits up, a little stunned. The family rushes over. The sister reaches him first. She helps him sit up, brushing sand off his clothes. Mom kneels down, brushing away the sand while checking on him. Her worried look quickly turns to relief. Dad arrives last, putting on a stern face for a moment. Then bursting into loud laughter. The younger brother looks at everyone, then grins too, shy and embarrassed. Ending. The family gathers again at the starting line. This time, everyone stands properly in place. The younger brother looks at Dad, raising his hand to ask for the signal. The sound of the waves mixes with bright laughter. Final frame. The family standing on the beach. The marks of a fall still in the sand, but joy filling the air. One ordinary afternoon, the pig family is in the living room. Little Pig is holding a cup of water. Little Pig comes back. The cup has disappeared. Big Pig starts helping. Daddy Pig searches the room. Mummy Pig checks the kitchen. The cup is still missing. Little Pig searches everywhere. Big Pig sits on the sofa. Daddy Pig bends down to look under the sofa. Mummy Pig looks closely at Little Pig. It turns out, Little Pig is chewing on the straw. Little Pig slowly lowers one arm. The cup was never lost. And that's why, when something goes missing, it might already be in your hands. Toy plane in trouble. Afternoon in the backyard. Soft golden sunlight spreads across the green lawn. In the middle of the wide yard, a remote-controlled airplane glides slowly through the air. Below, the younger brother grips the controller tightly with both hands, his eyes following every movement of the plane. The older sister stands beside him, looking up at the plane with excitement. A sudden gust of wind rises. The plane sways lightly in the breeze. And then, the plane gets caught in a tree branch. One wing is stuck. The younger brother panics. He presses buttons on the controller. The plane shakes, but cannot break free. The sister runs to the base of the tree, reaches up with her hand too far. She looks around, picks up a long stick. Standing on tiptoe, she lifts the stick high, trying to knock the plane loose, but it doesn't work. Below, the younger brother stands still, hands clenched tightly around the controller, worried. Just then, Dad steps out from the house. Dad looks up at the tree, then at the plane, and understands. Dad goes back into the shed and returns with a ladder. He places the ladder against the tree, checks that it is secure. The sister stands below, holding the ladder steady. The younger brother stands beside her, looking up and watching closely. Dad climbs up the ladder, reaches out very slowly, carefully frees the plane from the branch. The plane is safely taken down. Dad climbs down and hands the plane to the younger brother. The boy looks at the plane. The wing is still intact. His eyes light up. He switches the controller back on. The plane off again, this time flying higher, away from the trees. The three stand below watching. A gentle breeze blows. The afternoon returns to peace. Small boat ride. Early morning. The lake surface is calm, with a thin mist still hovering above the water. The car stops by the shore. Mom, the older sister, and the younger brother step out first, standing close together and posing for photos. All three smile brightly. At the back of the car, Dad opens the trunk, takes out two small boats, and gently places them at the water's edge. Out on the lake, the family splits into two boats. Dad and the younger brother sit in one boat. Mom and the older sister sit in the other. The two boats push off from the shore and drift gently toward the middle of the lake. The sister sits upright, curiously looking around. Mom rows calmly, occasionally turning back to look at the two father and son behind them. A small incident.
Whoa!
The younger brother leans down and plays with the water using his hand. Water splashes, sparkling under the sunlight. The boat begins to tilt slightly. The younger brother panics, flailing his arms. Dad immediately grabs him, pulling him closer to sit safely. On the other boat, Mom notices and turns around. She opens her bag, takes out life jackets, and hands them over to Dad. Then, Mom and the sister put on their life jackets as well. Dad takes out two fishing rods from a small box. He gives one to the younger brother. He keeps one for himself. The father and son sit side by side, lowering their lines into the water. The lake reflects their silhouettes, peaceful and still. On the nearby boat, Mom opens a food basket. She takes out snacks and fruit. She hands them to the sister. The two enjoy their food while looking around, relaxed and at ease. A small fish wiggles, making the float on the line bob gently. The younger brother's eyes widen as he grips the rod tightly. Dad places a hand on his shoulder, guiding him gently. The whole family laughs happily, their laughter softly echoing over the still water. Camping night, the car slowly pulls into an open clearing near the forest. The sun is setting, casting a warm orange glow across the wide sky. Dad steps out first, looks around, and nods with satisfaction. Mom opens the trunk and takes out the tent and supplies. Dad and Mom work together to set up the tent. Dad holds the frame. Mom stretches the fabric and tightens the ropes. The tent slowly stands firm in the middle of the clearing. Nearby, the two kids excitedly start a campfire. The sister neatly stacks the firewood. The little brother crouches down and gently blows sparks flicker, and the fire catches. They look at each other and smile happily. When everything is ready, Mom spreads a large mat in front of the tent. The family brings out the food: breadfruit, sausages, drinks. Dad places the grill over the fire. Sausages and food are laid on the grill, sizzling and filling the air with a delicious smell. The family sits together, grilling, eating, laughing, and enjoying the moment. Suddenly, rustle! A sound comes from the nearby bushes. The little brother jumps, eyes wide. He quickly hides next to Mom. Mom gently places a hand on his shoulder to reassure him. Dad stands up, holding a sausage, and walks closer. The bushes shake slightly. A small cat jumps out. The family lets out a sigh of relief. Dad bends down and gently places the sausage on the ground. The cat sniffs, grabs it, and runs off into the darkness. Dad turns back and gestures. All good. The family sits back down by the fire. The flames burn steadily. Laughter fills the air again. The little brother relaxes and continues eating. The sister turns the sausages on the grill. Mom adjusts the mat. Dad looks at his family and smiles contentedly. A warm, peaceful camping night, filled with laughter. Building a fence. Morning in the yard. Soft sunlight falls onto the empty patch of ground in front of the porch. The whole family stands side by side, looking along the edge of the yard, as if imagining a fence that will soon appear. Dad steps forward, bends down, pulls out a measuring tape. Mom stands beside him, holding the end of the tape, adjusting it to keep it straight. The older sister stands behind them, observing the distances, gives a small nod. The younger brother is curious. He grabs the other end of the tape. The tape snaps back sharply with a zip. The boy jumps in surprise, steps back, grins. Dad uses a stick to mark lines on the ground. Mom places wooden stakes along the marks. Dad picks up a hammer and gets ready to drive in the first stake. The hammer slips, falls to the ground. Clack! The whole family freezes. The younger brother bends down to pick up the hammer. Hands it to Dad. Smiles sheepishly. Dad takes the hammer. Drives the stake in. The stake leans slightly. The sister steps forward and straightens it. Dad strikes a few more times. The stake stands firm. Mom hands over a horizontal wooden plank, holds it steady. Dad hammers in the nails. The younger brother runs back and forth, picking up nails, handing them over one by one. A section of the fence slowly takes shape. Curious, the younger brother gently leans against the new fence. The fence shakes slightly. Dad checks it, adds one more hammer strike. The fence becomes sturdier. Finally, the last wooden plank is fixed in place. Dad sets the hammer down, stretches his back. Mom brushes off her hands, looks along the fence. The whole family stands together, looking back at the yard, now clearly marked with a boundary.